Recording. We have 9 hours and 23 minutes to talk.
Oh,
You
we can
think
totally fill that in.
Is that enough?
That's good for like one story.
And with that, folks, welcome to another exciting interview here at AIM Expo. I am with Justin Dawes of Cycle World, and we're going to start off with a story about when he pooped his pants in France.
Nearly pooped my pants. And it was in Italy.
Excuse me.
Ducati press launch was my first time as a
You don't need to
motorcycle
tell that
editor.
story.
It's amazing.
We will
Just
come right back to it.
Don't drink too much espresso. That's all I got to say. Espresso,
cheers.
espresso.
Well, for our friends at home, do a proper introduction, a little who you are and background.
Sure. My name is Justin Dawes. I am the executive editor of Cycle World magazine. I have been in the motorcycle industry probably since I could walk.
Forever.
Yes, and now I help make motorcycle media and try to get people stoked on motorcycles. That's my job.
That is a great job.
Yeah, it's what's that thing about you never work a day in your life if you do what you love or whatever?
Yeah.
It's not true. I still work my butt off, but I enjoy every minute of it.
Cool. Let me click this button so I don't distract myself. With the print landscape, so tell me, like, there's a lot that's been happening over the last, 5-10 years. Evolution, media, social media, digital. Like, what the heck is happening?
What the heck is happening
What the heck
now?
is happening?
Okay, so Google, thanks Google for killing print. But
Google, what's that?
Anyways, it's difficult to make money doing print magazines, and we stopped doing print in 2022. We made our last issue, which hurt me in the heart very much, as well as everyone on staff, because it really became a labor of love, because it wasn't a monthly thing, it became a quarterly thing, it became something where we were really making art and showing the things that we really cared and loved about. But in terms of being profitable, it's just, when you're building a super nice coffee table book and you don't have a lot of advertising money flying around at that time frame because of COVID and stuff, it just couldn't go on. So now it's all digital. We got the website, and now we have to really focus on videos and YouTube, and that's the new media landscape, is video.
Yeah. Well, do you feel like you guys made a seamless transition? Was it a pretty bumpy ride, or?
It's a bumpy ride. It's always a bumpy ride, and that's the thing, because you're always trying to figure out the algorithm and what works and what doesn't. And
Dude, fuck the algorithm.
yeah, man, it's tough. But we really work on trying to do creative things and do what we like while trying to engage other people to do that. And I think we have some successes, we have some failures, and we find our way through it just like everybody else. We may be big and important in the world, but we also are in the same boat as everybody else.
Mm-hmm. Well, and going from monthly to quarterly to digital, I mean, there's still got to be a desire, for that tactical, like, touch.
There is, and it's nice to see that there's still some out there, and there's some nice coffee table things and labors of love. My boy Ed Subius, his little magazine he's doing is cool. It's all photos and small captions, and it's tactile, and it feels really good, and I'd love to see that. And I wish that we could do it on a scale that would make us money and make our bosses happy, but it's not possible, So we have to figure out a way to give people that same feeling and that same connection through video now.
One, is there just like a huge expectation, like, if it was just monthly prior, now stuff comes out so fast, you got to keep up with the, we talk the algorithm. It's like, it's frustrating, my side, just thinking you put up something on social media, it exists for that moment, and then
it's gone.
Gone.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is it's always a race because of the algorithm, right? A piece of news, you got to get it up right away, you got to get it up now. Something happens and it's 8 o'clock at night, and you're like, I gotta get up and I gotta do this right now. And so I mean, Cycle World permeates our lives completely, because we can never shut off anymore.
Yeah.
When you're just building a print magazine, you go home, because everyone else, the people that are doing the creative and the people that are doing the layout and the people that need the files to do the printing, they're all at home with their families too. But now it's 24/7.
Yeah.
And so it's a bit of a grind for sure.
Well, what brought you into the grind? What's your background that you were like found yourself in as a journalist?
Okay. interesting path. So there's a lot of people in journalism that went to journalism school and were writers and all those types of things, and I was none of that. I faked it till I made it.
Yeah.
I really, really did. So I started out, I raced motorcycles as a kid, got to know a lot of people in the motorcycle industry.
So always a base in bikes.
Always a base in bikes since I was 8 years old. My dad showed me On Any Sunday, Christmas Eve. We watched On Any Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
I woke up in the morning at a XR75 sitting in the front room. Yeah.
Oh, that's a cool story.
And little did he know that moment would set me on my career till the day I die.
Oh, that's a cool dad moment.
Very cool dad moment. He loves it. He's so proud of me. He loves to see all the things we do, and he'll. It's funny because he's 75 now. He'll send me like a message like, "Hey, on your website you have this," and I'm like, "Yeah, I know, Dad. I wrote that."
Did you see this? I'm like, "Yeah, I did."
Yeah, I did see this. Actually, I see everything that goes on the website, Dad. So it's cool, but. So I got to know a bunch of people, and then I got a job at Kawasaki when I was 19 years old. I dropped out of college.
Where's this job at?
In Irvine, California.
Okay.
So like Kawasaki corporate, prepping motorcycles for magazine loans.
Oh.
So I started out as the low man on the totem pole and did all the things, oil changes, making sure everything's tight, nut and bolting, whatever. And then after a few years, I got into kind of a test riding type of role. We're in quality assurance. So I was like the guy that rode the bike and listened for every squeak, every rattle, vibrations that were bad, and then my job was to tell the engineers, no, this is no good, this is no good, this is no good. And I did that for a long time, and then it got kind of be a grind. And so then I went into media relations at Kawasaki. Jan Plessner, who was the PR manager at the time, now she runs a recruiting agency for motorcycling jobs. She gave me my first break at like a creative type of role in the industry when I was just a guy that rode motorcycles and knew what they did.
Yeah.
And
it seemed like your opinion probably mattered a little bit at that point.
Yeah, it did. And she gave me a chance. I got to know a lot of motorcycle media people, and that kind of set me on the path when there was a big layoff in 2009. One of the editors I was really good friends with, I called him and said I got laid off, sorry I won't be working anymore. And I had just done a long trip to Japan on a vacation, 22 days in Japan. I borrowed a bike, and I was an amateur photographer. I took photos of myself riding my motorcycle around Japan. And he's like, oh, you went to Japan, and did you take pictures? And I said, yeah. And he said, can you write? And I said, I don't know. And he said, well, write me a story about going to Japan. And so I did, and that got me a job as an editor. So, and now
the rest is history.
The rest is here. And now I'm at Cycle World, which was, I remember reading Cycle World when I was a kid, and I really especially remember my first Cycle World issue that I really remember. I think I was 15, and it was an article written by Hunter S. Thompson. Called "The Song of the Sausage Creature," and it was about a Ducati 900 SS. And he went on this whole thing about like they kept trying to send me this motorcycle. I didn't want it because it's a death machine and all this stuff. And then about riding it, and he had this really good line about it's better to be shot out of a cannon than squeezed out of a tube. That's what fast motorcycles are for. And that like cemented, that Cycle World for me was the top of the ladder in terms of journalism, I guess, and motorcycling. And, maybe one day I would work around those people, but I did not know that I would end up
have a future there.
Having a future in running the website and basically being, the second fiddle, I guess, the second, below the editor-in-chief.
Yeah.
I'm the next guy on the line, and it doesn't get much better than that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, so two things. One, there's a bar restaurant called Muchacho in Atlanta, right on the Beltline. And inside the bathroom, they have just a ton of Cycle World articles and just like random, just different magazines and all things, but just from like, the 70s and whenever it was. But that's one. But then two, my experience coming into the motorcycle space in Southern California, so many of my friends were still riders, reviewers, testers, all these different things, photographers, your Waheeds and all these guys. Yeah. But all along the way, it's like there's cycle world, there's like cycle news, there's motorcyclists, and to me, they all sound the same. I didn't come up in motorcycles, and so what is the landscape now still in whether it be print media, online, and then kind of what was that? What am I talking about?
Yeah, I mean, like as the years go by, there's definitely a thinning of the ranks, right? But the legacy media that has been doing it for a long time is still there.
Yeah.
So Cycle World, motorcyclists, Cycle News, we've all been in the business for a very, very long time. You guys
have all probably worked together.
We've all worked together at some point. Like I have worked, Waheed actually, I oversee motorcyclists as well. So Waheed actually works for me. Cycle News, I worked with the guys from Cycle News at one point in my career.
I think Brenny's out here tomorrow. I got to get him.
Yeah, I actually was the person that welcomed Rennie into the United States.
They keep trying to send him back.
Yeah. They can't get rid of him. No. He's now an American. He's an honorary American.
We get to keep him.
We're going to keep him. Yeah. So, I've worked with all of them, and it goes to show, like, if you do it the right way, you do have the longevity, and we're never going away.
Right.
Like, the landscape changes, the way media is presented changes, but we're still independent media that has a voice that tells people important things about motorcycles.
Yeah.
And that won't go away. So we'll still be around, we're, Cycle World has been around since 1962. Motorcyclists, I think 1920 something.
Jeez.
It's over 100 years.
Oh, cool.
It's the oldest motorcycle magazine.
Wow.
So like Waheed, that's a lot of stuff to carry on your shoulders, that you've got the oldest motorcycle magazine.
Yeah, he's got the oldest shoulders too. He's got a Velociraptor.
They're all messed up too, because he crashes all the time, or used to crash all the time. I got some amazing Waheed crash stories that would embarrass the heck out of him. But it's fun to do. I'm glad that I'm doing this. I would much rather be doing this than anything else in the world. And to come here and talk to people about motorcycles and what they think about it, and try to help them find things, man, it's really fun.
Yeah. Well, one thing that I've gotten to participate in behind the camera that I don't think a lot of people know about, like unless you're like close to the space or familiar with this, that, or the other, like a press ride. Like there's a new bike coming out, and you and your buddies are now flying to Tulum, and you're gonna have a great time for a few days. Give our listeners, like, give us a breakdown of what's happening there.
So this is how the first way.
Tell me why this exists.
Yeah. Okay. Well, why it exists is companies want to put you in a very good mood when you're riding a motorcycle, in hopes that you will write very favorable things. And as an editor, your job is to resist those things. Your job is to brush off that want to be, oh man, this was a great trip, I'm in a great mood. You still have to think critically. But, I tell people I get to live like a millionaire 3 days at a time.
Yeah.
I fly somewhere, I stay at the most expensive hotel in that area, I eat the best food, I ride the coolest motorcycles, and then I fly home. And that's the gist of it. That's what a press launch is.
There's literally somebody that just like goes online and picks out the dopest trip for these dudes just to come down, dude and dudettes, where it's just like, it's like the best.
It's the best.
They hire the best photographers to document said trip.
Yes, they do.
And then they come and they write their articles with these amazing photos. But when I started attending these and learning about them, I'm like, what are we doing?
And wait, what do you mean? We're going to go just
are you
go
gonna
have
pay us?
fun?
Oh,
okay. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and when I worked at Kawasaki in the media department, that was my job, was to plan press trips.
Yeah.
So what I did, because I knew everyone would enjoy it, I just did what I wanted to do. Whatever I thought was going to be cool, I was like, oh, it'd be really fun to go do this and this and this. And then I would just present that as a press launch, and they'd be like, oh, that's amazing, good job. You're so creative. And I'm like, just being selfish, to be honest.
Oh, a man of culture and taste.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, and then all those trips, would you say how many bikes in all the years do you think you've ridden and had to have an honest review?
Wow. Okay, so I would say review myself now that I'm in a role of editor where I don't get to ride as much as everybody else because I'm reading everybody's words and I'm fixing things. I maybe review 10 to 12 bikes a year, but we're talking a 25-year career. It's, dude, I don't even know, thousands of motorcycles. I've been to Spain and Italy so many times.
Thousands of margaritas, folks.
Yes, that's thousands of filet mignons, and that's thousands of amazing views at hotels and all
Do you
those
like
things.
that, like that specific, like the travel, like eliminate the meals, eliminate any of the pomp and circumstance. The places that they go are so inherently beautiful. Like the sites you've seen. It's like you should I'm sure the laundry list of spots is just
it's
unreal.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I've been to Spain and Italy and all those places so many times. I can't tell you how many times I've been there. Like people will be like, I've been to Spain 5 times, and I'm like, I don't know how many times I've been. And they're
I
like,
speak Italian now.
It's so. I've been to places so many times. I can see a TV show and they're in Spain, and I'm like, oh, that's Malaga, or that is Ronda,
cool.
or that is I know exactly where that corner is.
Wow.
In a car commercial, I'm like, I know that spot.
Jeez.
So it's pretty cool. And
I'm so happy you guys have had those experiences. That's great.
Yeah. It's still work.
Yeah.
But to be honest, you get busy and you have to hit deadlines and you have to write things and you go, oh man, and you feel down on yourself a little bit and you go, wait a second, I could be selling toilets or something.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, there's people that make a
Have
ton.
you used a Kohler? It's impressive.
It's impressive. And a Kohler salesman probably makes way more money than I do. But at the same time, I get to do the thing that everyone does for fun.
What if that is a reality in their world too? That they have a Kohler set up on who's that millionaire, billionaire that's got an island?
Oh,
and that's where they'll just go and do their business around the world. And they're like,
have a seat on this Kohler.
This is
and
a
you're
nice
like,
one.
oh yeah, let me write 500 words about this Kohler.
Well, specific to the writing and reviews and things, AI. This is a new thing, and a lot of these young kids are using it to do their homework, but some of the adults are phoning it in now too. As writing, obviously each writer has a unique perspective and a style of their own.
Yeah, they do.
But are you seeing or are you noticing? Obviously not at Cycle World.
No.
That you're like, a human didn't have a hand in that.
Yes. That happens, and especially it's usually the sites that are just trying to churn content. They have what we call a chum box at the bottom, which is all the really crappy bad ads.
Yeah.
Right? But you get enough people and you get enough impressions, you still make money on it. So they go, AI, write me a review in the style of Cycle World about blah, 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 blah. They put it up on their site, and it still can get traction a little bit. But Google is getting good at picking those out and knowing and detecting that. But
is that just from a pattern that it's able to notice?
A pattern, and it may get a few details wrong.
Yeah.
And that's the same. It's the same way that I detect it. Like I'm like, definitely a human did not write that because they got this wrong. They got this angle a little bit wrong. Like they really don't understand what the bike is about.
Yeah.
And the sentence structure is it's not simplistic all the time, but it's very straightforward. There's not a lot of
nuance.
There's not a weaving of a story.
No undertone.
There's no theme. There's no story. There's no punchline. Like everyone has their different style of writing. I write to a punchline. Like when I write something, I start with an intro and a finish, and I make it like a punchline to a joke, and then I fill everything in between.
Yeah.
And so that's my style. So I'm like, that never happens in AI, right? And then, I can read people's stuff in the industry, not even just me or not my editors. Like my editors, obviously, I know who, they don't need to put their name on it. I know who wrote what. But I can read something that Rennie wrote, and I know that Rennie wrote that.
It's because he has an accent.
Yeah, you read it in an accent. It's really weird. You're like, right, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, whoa, that's kind of strange. I can read something by Kevin Duke. And Kevin Duke's articles, like, it's Kevin Duke when you read it. Bassem Wassef. Bassem, when it's Bassem, and you don't get that with AI. It doesn't have a voice. It doesn't have a style that it's like an accent. It's like somebody's tone of their voice. You can, when you're used to reading a bunch of stuff, it's like their voice.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen with AI. So But I will say that Google has been very good at downranking articles that are AI.
Right.
And that'll be the status quo until Google's AI is really good, and then it'll be all AI. And by then, hopefully, I'll be retired.
Well, is that some of the conversations that you guys have to have, that it's like, well, hopefully I'll be dead by then?
A bit, but I also think that things vacillate back and forth, and there's a younger generation that thinks social media is stupid now.
Yeah.
Younger generation, they don't care about Facebook and Instagram and stuff. They got other things to do, and I have nephews that are 12 to 15 years old, and they're into like analog cameras, and it's swinging back the other way. So hopefully, it won't go away, and people will start valuing the things that we value. An authentic experience, things that people, that touches your heart and tickles your mind more than just content. Feed me junk food. We'll get back to good food.
When you guys have those good food conversations, is there a point that you have to concede and say, like, listen, like, and I think you mentioned it earlier, like, where you're just like, we have to just stay in our lane, keep putting, nose to the grindstone, put out good stuff, and not try to follow the fad or the trend.
Yeah. There's a lot of that. Like, we really
have you like felt like you guys went askew along the way at all, or
and there's always that temptation to do that.
Yeah.
But we are Cycle World, and we've made a commitment to what Parkhurst was like, first independent journalism, because before, when it was reviews, it was almost a paid advertisement in a way, and he was like, no, I'm going to tell people the truth about a motorcycle, whether it's good, bad, whatever. And that was the ethos of Cycle World, and every editor that has come along through Cycle World has to be on board with that mission and that ethos. The reader comes first before anybody else, before advertising dollars, before even our bosses. The company that owns us, when they
Which
may
company
say,
is that?
Octane Lending owns us.
Okay.
So it's a fintech company. They finance motorcycles. It makes it very easy to do that, and we're part of that ecosystem now. But they're a very fast-moving company, and so they are, the landscape shifts, they shift, And so for them, it would be natural to ask of us to be like, well, the trend is going here, go here. We have to hold to our guns and say, no, that doesn't work for Cycle World because we are Cycle World.
Yeah.
And the reader expects this. And our mission is to tell the reader what a motorcycle is about, give them the information so they can enjoy motorcycling better, because we've given them the truth about everything that we ride.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of people don't believe that, and especially in these days of conspiracy things and things, you get comments on the site that are like, yeah, nice paid commercial for whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, not every bike can be good, and that is true, but bikes have become so much better in the last 10 years that it's rare to find a very bad motorcycle.
Yeah.
You might find bikes that have flaws here and there, but overall, bikes are awesome. There's no better time to be alive as a motorcyclist than right now.
Yeah.
So, and our job is to just inform people and get them stoked on whatever it may be, and help them move on in their journey of motorcycling and find the things that fit them.
Well, so as the motorcycle industry, it's a small community.
It very much is.
It's a very small community.
Very much.
With all the articles you've written and all the jobs you've had and reviews you've done, how much of an influence in the overall motorcycle space over the last umpteen years do you think you had a hand in? Like, do you think you can see some colors that you paint with?
Yes, sometimes. There's a very obvious one that with Harley Davidson and the Pan America 1250. So when they were developing that bike, they put out a teaser video, about a year before the bike came out. And it was like, oh, this is the Pan America, and da-da-da-da. And I went through it frame by frame, and I talked about, it looks like it has this type of fork, and this size of wheel, and this size of this, and that, and this, and that. And one of the lines I wrote in it was, if they can make it weigh less than 550 pounds, I will buy everybody at Harley Davidson pizza and beer. And they read that article. The project manager printed it out and put it on every engineer's desk.
Oh.
They hung it up in every cubicle. And they made sure that thing weighed less than 550 when it came out. It was going to be over 550 pounds when they
that's cool.
started it, and they
Yeah.
got it down to 535.
You bought some pizza and beer.
And they were at the press launch. They were like, Dawes, you owe us pizza and beer.
Have you?
Yeah, it cost us 15 grand.
That's cool.
Bought pizza and beer for like 600 people at Harley Davidson.
What a good case study, though.
Yeah, but like, it's good. The manufacturers pay attention to what we write. So we do help improve motorcycles over time with our feedback. It's clear, you know.
Well, with that, like, and moving forward, I guess what do you project for the motorcycle scene? It's always you talk to this person, it's like, oh, it's the worst it's ever been, or oh, it's the best. Like,
I think it can be both depending on what side you're on, right? For us, it's difficult, but it's been difficult in terms of, like, the way ad dollars are spent is completely different than it was in the 80s. Like the 80s, it was just like, you print money. 90s, you print money. It's no big deal. 2000s, early 2000s, still like just hand over fist, no problem. And now it's tightened up, and there's so many different places money can go.
A lot more strategy involved.
A lot more strategy. There's a lot more people doing it in terms of you have influencers and people that, that also, they pull from the same barrel now. Mm-hmm. The barrel is only so big, right? And so there's more hands in it than there's ever been. So it makes it more difficult. But I also think that's great for the person that's consuming content and understanding motorcycling, because there's somebody for everybody out there in this scene right now. And like a lot of us as editors, we're like, influencers, like, they're taking some of our thunder, but they're speaking to somebody different than we are. And motorcycling needs voices all the way across to get the message out how awesome this is, right? And so somebody looks at me and goes, that dude's freaking almost 50 years old, he's got a beard, he's kind of out of shape. That's not my guy. Like, dude, he's wearing dad shoes now. You know what I mean? Like,
have you worn dad shoes? They're very comfortable.
Oh, dude, I love dad shoes now. But that's because I got blown out knees and a worked back from crashing motorcycles all the time. I'm not the cool guy anymore, and that's fine. But I can still ride a motorcycle really well. I can talk about a motorcycle really well. But there's different people that I speak to than somebody that's showing, like, I'm going to go do this rad thing on a bike and show you how my experience is. And that's totally rad, But I will say that we are the original influencers.
The original OGs.
We're the OGs. Yeah. But that's fine. We can't be we can't be the only ones doing it.
Yeah.
And a rising tide raises all ships.
Yeah.
So I'm good with it. Like, I'm happy that anyone that can make a living in the motorcycle space is a hustler and somebody that kicks ass.
Yeah. Well, so then what does the future look like for you specifically?
Future for me or for Cycle World?
For you.
For me, my future, hopefully, will continue to be the executive editor. Yeah. I want to stay basically where I'm at until I die. Like I'm in a very, very sweet spot. People go, oh, you should always be growing professionally. And I want to become a better writer. Even though I've been doing it this long, it's every time you do it, it's hard. And that's the point of it. If it was easy, I wouldn't want to do it. So I want to continue to test motorcycles and write about motorcycles and help a younger generation learn to write and talk about motorcycles and communicate that. So, I have like my associate editor, Evan Allen. He's 26 years old. His dad is our photographer, Jeff Allen. He's been in the business for 33 years shooting photography. Evan has grown up around motorcycling, and now he works for Cycle World as the youngest editor, and one day he's going to be me. And so my job is to help him be the best he can be, and that really excites me, is to help the younger generation be able to do this job and keep it going long after we're gone. So that's my future.
I imagine that's the best way to continue and find successes, when you're able to look at the young and the up and comer, and rather than try to push them back and stave off the eventual and inevitable thing, to invite them in and teach and grow and educate. That's the way
my
to do
legacy is going to be that somebody, when they get to my space, is be like, I learned from Justin Dawes. that's my legacy.
That's cool.
So that's my future. My future is to do this as long as I can. My role will obviously change. I'll become slower and slower as I get older, but I'm still getting faster in some ways.
That throttle still goes.
The throttle still goes. I'm still racing at times, you know, and so my goal is to at least do that for a little bit longer. You know, like I want to race the car when I'm 50 years old.
Okay.
That's a goal that I have right now. You know,
Good luck.
At 50 years old, I want to be a 50-year-old Dakar racer for my first time.
Start at the deep end.
Yeah, why not?
Why not?
Why not? You know.
Why not? Well, then I'm interested in your perspective specific to coming from, you know, as a journalist, as an editor, and all the things, and understanding many aspects from many sides of the coin. How do you see a company like mine, or at least a guy like me? I feel like I can come across a little chaotic, a little.
No, actually, you don't. Like I look at you and I go, Sam is very focused. Like, I see that you're driven and you're doing things and you're making things work, and you're in the space when times are hard and easy, and you're doing stuff and you're not quitting. And so chaotic, that's not what I see out of you. I see somebody that works their ass off.
Okay.
So, and you know, people maybe don't because of, you know, whatever, but absolutely you're a hustler and working hard, and it does not go unnoticed.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that, and I appreciate your time. This is now your time to shine. Right here in your camera. Anything you want to bring attention to, any light on, a shout out, whatever.
Sure. I mean, go to cycleworld.com, read our stuff, leave comments, tell us if we're doing good or bad. I also do a podcast now. We should have you on at some point when we start having guests.
I would love that.
Right now it's me, it's Wahid. And it's
I'm out.
And it's Jeff Allen, our photographer for the Motorcyclist podcast. We're doing that. It's really fun. And it's a grind. So I understand how hard you work at this. We do one a week, and I'm like, you know, it takes a lot of effort to really do these things. And so go watch that. You know, check us out, but above all, enjoy motorcycling, spend money so that we can keep doing what we do. Please.
Yeah.
Please. I don't want another
He's got to
job.
get back to Italy.
Yeah, I need another millionaire vacation. No, I want to keep doing this as long as I can, selfishly. So, you know, do that. But also, I want everyone to know how much fun motorcycling is and how it can change your life. I mean, you know this. You're in it. It's a lifestyle. It's something that changed your life when you started riding a motorcycle. You're like, I want to do that all the time. How do I work it into every second of my being?
Yeah.
And that happens with so many people that ride motorcycles. A higher percentage that it doesn't.
Yeah.
And that's important. There's something special about it that you don't get out of a car, that you don't get out of a bicycle, that you don't get out of surfing. Motorcycling is an identity as much as it is a pastime.
When not used and abused for ego, I agree. Motorcycling, to me, has always been such a... you get to put a bomb between your legs and then go play in traffic.
Yeah, exactly. It's
you know,
exactly
every
what
day
you
you
do.
go, today's a good day to die, and you just let it roll. But
Let it roll. Yep.
specific to you, I just want to give you credit as a writer, as a historian, because I just find so much value in the written word. And what it serves long after we're dead, and your words equally will live on. And as AI gets smarter, I'm sure at some point somebody could make you like a character in some, you know, VR world where just your words alone will inform, you know, that that character. I bet that's a future.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you taking notice of my writing. Honestly, you know, there's far better writers than me, and as my job, it's my job to work with them and understand that. And I would say I'm mediocre at best, but I try my hardest.
Well, we love you just the same. And with that, appreciate you and your time. Get back to the show. Do whatever it is you're doing here. And thanks to all of our friends at AIM Expo for putting on this wonderful event.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's great to see this entire hall full of motorcycling people.
That's it. Well, and I think that this is part of why I'm here, is open the doors a little bit from the B2B to more to you.
B2C. All right.
B2C. Yeah.
See you.
Cheers.
Thanks.